to another Mando Lessons Live, coming at you on Saturday afternoon, noon Eastern Standard Time. I hope you're all doing well. Looks like we got tons of folks in the chat. That's what I love to see. And let's see, who do we got? Gary from California, Lewis from Evansville, Connie from Washington, Lynn from Ohio, Brenda from New York. Hey You says hello. Pepper Patch, Alabama says hello from Alabama. Terry Mangum from Oregon. Hey You from Germany. Oh, good to have you here. Hello from Norway. Alf, good to see ya. Russell from Utah. Netherlands, Erd Janssen. I apologize if I'm not saying your name correctly. Francesco79 says hello from India. Hello from Plymouth, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Hawaii, Minnesota, Tennessee, Finley, Cincinnati, Montana. All right, Barcelona, Boston. People from all over. Great to see you all. Virginia, excellent. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you can hear and see me just fine. Let me know if that changes. Tennessee, Austin. Great. It looks like a bunch of new faces this week. It's nice to see. A lot of familiar names, but then some new folks. Let me know if this is your first time here. And yeah, thanks for joining. The way these things work is it's pretty casual, but yeah, ask some questions. We got about an hour here. I'll play some tunes. I can take requests as long as they're in the public domain. So a lot of pop songs and other stuff is off limits, but I'm happy to do traditional fiddle tunes, especially if I know how they go. But yeah, if you got questions about mandolin, about playing techniques, any sort of musical questions, I'm happy to answer them at this point. Fill in with a little bit of music. At the end, we will play a play-along track, or a play-along jam together. And I totally realized I spaced out on what it's going to be this month. Usually I play it as my first tune, but I didn't this time. I'm going to go figure out what that is. But that first tune that I played is a tune that popped into my head. I learned it probably like 10 years ago, but I hadn't played it in probably 5 or 6. Called Cham Bluet, ChampBluet. It's the Blueberry Field. It's a great Quebec tune. I know it from the repertoire of the great Quebecois fiddle player Yvonne Mimo. Alright, I'm going to look at what the play-along jam for this week is. Oh, I'm not sure what it's going to be. Maybe we didn't figure it out. In any case, I hope everyone is doing well. All right, I'm going to pay attention one more time here. I just wanted to see if I could figure out what was going on. Let me catch up with the chat for a second here. The request for, let's see, okay, I'll back up because the thing jumped down. Barcelona, Virginia, Tennessee, Austin, across the bay. Kickin' Mule, I don't know that tune. Arizona, Charlottesville, Virginia, Everett, Washington. Brenda's first time. Thanks for joining, Brenda. Weatherly Farm says, I'd love to see a lesson on the theme song to The Last of the Mohicans. I get that question a lot. It's a beautiful piece. Unfortunately, it is copyrighted. I bet if you look around on the internet, though, you might be able to dig something up, but I'm not going to be able to do it here. All right, more first-timers. All right, Rick says, just came off stage. Welcome. I hope your performance went well. Wish I could have heard it. From West Tennessee, Ted's on his way. Glad to hear it. 9-pound hammer. Happy to play a little 9-pound hammer. That's a lesson. I've got a whole bunch of lessons on that on my website, MandoLessons.com, where you can learn how to play this tune in a bunch of different keys and learn how to spice it up a little bit. But I'll play a little bit of that. This 9-pound hammer, a little too heavy for my side. Roll on bit of 9-Pound Hammer, classic bluegrass, an old-time song. A little bit of Forked Deer. I can play a little Forked Deer. I've got a B part. The reason that Forked Deer isn't on my website is because I don't know where my B part came from. And I like to play tunes and teach tunes the way that they're commonly known, but I don't really know where my B part came from, so it's going to require either learning a more straight ahead version of the B part or figuring out where it came from. But I'll do a little bit of that. I'll catch up with the chat first. Double stop exercises. Definitely. Go to my website, go to Technique. This is a question from Mike. Go to the Technique and Fundamentals page. Scroll down to the bottom. There's a whole series on adding double stops to your playing. Take a look through those, and then also look at the songs section of my website where I kind of put some of that stuff into practice. You can also look at some of the simple to complex videos that I've been doing lately. Those make use of a lot of double stops, and I talk about how to add them there. Big Sciota, that's a great one. All right, so I got Big Sciota and Forked Deer. Try to keep all these going. Rob asked if I do private lessons. Unfortunately, I do not, but thank you for asking. No, it's all just the website at this point. But I will definitely put out an announcement if I ever transition into doing some private lessons. Lewis has an interesting question. What type of products and processes do you use to clean your instruments? I don't, is the short answer. Pretty much the only thing I do is when I change the strings, I take off 2 sets of strings at a time. I got a little microfiber cloth. I'll rub down the instrument. I take off 2 at a time so I can really get in underneath the strings and around the pegs. I don't even do that sometimes, but you know, occasionally, every maybe like couple years, I'll like get a little bit. If I really start seeing crud building up, I'll get a little bit. I'll take a rag and get it wet, and then squeeze all the water out of it as much as I can, and use that, and then wipe off all the gunk, and then use a dry microfiber cloth right afterwards to make sure there's no moisture sitting on the instrument. And that's about it. I've heard it's good to like condition the fretboard. I never have done it myself. I've got some instruments that have fretboards that are a little old and dry, so I might consider that, but in general, I do not do much in the way of cleaning the instrument. Rose and the Heather is a great request. I'll try to get that one. Man, lots of great requests. Pick one. Sugar in the Gourd, 5 miles from town, or Jaybird died of the whooping cough. Woo, I don't know the first one or the third one. I've played Sugar in the Gourd, but I don't know the third one. I don't even know if I've heard that name. So 5 miles from town it is, or Mowing the Meadow. I don't know that one off the top of my head. All right, Juiced, good to have you here. Always nice when you can catch it. Tune requests. Sons de Carrios, Gerald Jones arrangement. Don't know that one. Cold Frosty Morning. All right, I gotta start writing these down or something. As a professional, this is a question from James. As a professional player or someone who plays every day, how often do you change your strings? It's really variable, but it does depend on how much I'm playing. In the winters, when I don't play as much, I would say I usually go a month, maybe 2 months between changing strings. In the summers, if I do like 2 solid weeks of playing 8 to 10 hours a day, teaching at a camp, out in the elements when it's hot and sweaty, I might do 2 weeks. I might like do 2 weeks of change my strings before camp, do 2 weeks of camp, and then change them right afterward because they get so grungy so fast if you're just out in nature, sleeping in a tent. So yeah, I would say every 2 weeks to every 2 months. But it all depends on how much you're playing. Any idea of exercises to learn the fingerboard? Definitely. One of the big ones I talk about a lot is FFCP over at jazzmando.com. It's a 4-finger scale, closed position scale exercise that'll really get your left hand moving around, get your pinky working, all that sort of thing. So it stands for four finger closed position, and that's jazzmando.com. And the other thing is there's a couple lessons on my website, I think in the technique and fundamentals section, about learning where all the chords are in different spots on the fretboard, how to build chords with like the first, third, and fifth of the scale. That sort of stuff is also going to help you. Aurelia says, how do you know when a song is copyrighted and cannot be played without permission? So the best thing to do is you can just Google it, and if it was written by someone, then it's copyrighted. Whereas if something is in the public domain, which means there's no specific author attributed to it, you can it's in the public domain and it's free to be played. So all the stuff on my website, unless it's original tune by me, is in the public domain. There's one exception. The tune on my old time mandolin solo album called Mississippi Palisades was written by Chirp Smith out in the Midwest, and he gave me direct written permission to put that tune on my album and on my website very kindly. So I've got permission for that one, but I don't have time to track down individual artists every time. All right, AC Mullane, good to have you here. How about some cross picking? I'll throw that in. How often do you change your strings? As I said, every 2 weeks to 2 months. If you're just getting here and you didn't hear the full explanation, it'll be available after the fact. After this hour is over, you can scroll back through and watch it at your leisure. Denise, good to have you here. Denise, maybe you can help me out. Do we have a play-along play-along jam scheduled for the end? I can't remember. I'm totally disorganized. If you happen to know one off the top of your head, great. If not, I can pick one off of that list that you gave me. But we'll get to that by the end. Fast fret is good for cleaning the gunk off the fretboard. Yep, I've heard about that stuff. I've never used it myself. Robert's got the right idea. He says the world is a better place with mandolins in it. I like to think so. The Monahan jig. I can never remember how that one goes. Do you know any tips for sticky fingers, holding a note when picking another string? My tunes tend to sound choppy because I let the notes go too quickly. I think just being... So I think what you're... for those who don't know, what Juice is talking about is, if you take a tune like... I'm going to switch cameras here real quick. So what you can do with that tune is if you leave fingers down, you get a nice fluid sound. But if you're picking up fingers every time, you get... gets much more choppy. So I think one big thing is just to be aware of that. Play it nice and slow. Keep fingers down whenever you can. And just know that that's something you should be doing is going to help you kind of get in the habit of keeping fingers down. So you've got the first part, which is knowing that it's something you should work on. And just keeping it in the back of your mind, playing slow, spending a little bit of time every day on a particular tune that you're finding choppy, and figure out where those spots are. And it's all cumulative, really. Hey, Yellow Rose Farm. Ted, good to see you. Saw Ricky Skaggs last night in Vermont. Very cool. He's so good. Oh, awesome. He signed your mandolin. That's very exciting. Yeah, he's the best. He's great. Yep. Connie says, when researching tunes, check multiple sources. Some websites attribute the recording artist as the composer, but that's not always accurate. Yeah, anytime I kind of go through and there's kind of a deep dive you can do to really figure out if a tune is copyrighted or a song is copyrighted. I know I said like Google it, but then Google it a lot. Look at multiple sources, try to figure out where it's all coming from, because there's a lot of kind of half-true information out there. So whatever you can find out is great. Oh, the play along was supposed to be Rose and the Heather. Great. Oh, cool, nice. Yeah, okay. So the play along is Rose and the Heather. It's a great Irish jig in the key of D, and it's not on my website, which is a first for the play along jam at the end of the hour. And I told people to learn a recording of their own, and then we'll all play it together, and we'll sort of see how that feels as a little exercise of coming to. It's the equivalent of like coming to a session and having an idea of a tune in your head, but maybe they play it a little different. Because I know there's a couple things I do in Rose and the Heather that I don't often see. So we'll see what happens when we get to that at the end of the hour. The tune that I was playing is for the Sticky Fingers. Is the what is it? Little Bag of Spuds. What is it? The Bag of Spuds is how it's on my website. There's a bunch of tunes and related tunes with various themes on that name, but it's on my website as the Bag of Spuds. Irish tune in the key of D, also sometimes played in the key of G. All right, I should get to some of these requests. Let me see here. Gotta go. I've totally forgotten them all now, but I'll do as many as I can here. Forked Deer, Big Scioto, and then 5 Miles from Town. Forked Deer. There it is. Here's Forked Deer. Didn't quite work. I was gonna go into Big Scioto. 3 tunes: Forked Deer, Big Scioto, and 5 Miles from Town. I was hoping I could do all 3 of those just as a little set, but took a little time to figure them out in between. And that last tune, just in case you're wondering, people play it both ways. Sometimes they'll play the high part first, low part second, like I did. Sometimes they'll play the low part first, high part second. And most fiddle players tune their fiddles to high bass, which is A, D, A, E. But I'm a mandolin player, so I don't retune. Cool. All right, let's see. I'll catch up with the chat here. Any plans to do more banjo tunes on your personal YouTube page? Finding those helpful for banjo arrangements right now. Cool. Probably sometime. I haven't done them in a while. I haven't been playing all that much banjo lately, but I do love to play the banjo. So you never know. I do have a video coming out on my channel, on my personal channel, which is my name, Baron Collins Hill, on YouTube. Pretty soon, I'll give you a little sneak peek as to what that's about. I just got this tenor Telecaster guitar, 4-string, in the mail. Did a little kind of first impressions because there's not all that much information about it out there at this point. So probably right after this is done, I'll upload that and get that published for people to see. And I also do I do other kind of tunes on mandolin and banjo and guitar. It's kind of my everything not mandolin lessons, or everything not Mando lessons over there. Ted says, sorry I wasn't at Fiddle Hell. It was really snowing at our house. Yeah, so I spent last weekend at a great camp sort of festival teaching workshop 4-day event called Fiddle Hell in Westford, Massachusetts. It was super fun. There was a great crop of mandolin players. Got to meet a bunch of great folks. If you're ever in the area, you should go to it because it's a real good time. It was my first year and I had a blast. Oh, let me see, the chat just jumped. Katie Hill. I can never remember how that tune goes. Cool. TN Mando says, was jamming with you on Big Scioto. You played some nice variations I haven't heard before. Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. Gold Rush, another one that I can never remember how it goes. Also, I think probably copyrighted that one. Maybe like a Kenny Baker tune or a Bill Monroe tune. But I could look into that one. Have you heard of Bob Amos? This sounds really familiar. He had a really popular bluegrass band in the 90s called Front Range. Okay, yep, I've heard of Front Range. Cool, he's your music teacher in Vermont. Excellent. Do you have any experience on guitar with dadgad, either playing it or combining it with mandolin? I don't play any dadgad. I know like one chord shape in dadgad, but I play a lot with my good friend Owen Marshall, who's an incredible dadgad guitarist. And we do a lot of stuff where it's guitar and mandolin. I think it's a great sound. Nice. Chip says, here in Austin, the low part on 5 Miles from Town first. Cool. Yeah, I've definitely heard that. I think that's how I first heard it. And then I learned it from the Raina Gellert album. It's either on Ways of the World or Starch and Iron. I can't remember which. I think she plays the high part first, but I could be wrong there too. Do you ever tune your mandolin to sawmill, A-E-A-E? I do not. Occasionally, so I have a lesson on my website on alternate tunings and cross tunings. And in there I explain how I get to a bunch of those different tunings if I do cross tune. So I don't regularly, if I'm in a jam setting, I don't tend to cross tune. But if I wanted to get to A-E-A-E, rather than bringing the G strings up to A and the D strings up to E, I bring the A string down to G and the E string down to D. So I get G, D, G, D, and then I put a capo at the 2nd fret. And I think that's a little easier on the instrument rather than tuning 4 strings up a whole step each. That can be a little rough on the instrument. Might break some strings. Robert says, my recently built electric solid body octave mandolin finally has proper string gauges, 13 to 52. Yeah, that's great. It's definitely a process to get the right gauges. And that's about what I use on a 21-inch scale too. So seems like we're both doing the right thing. Nice. Finn and Ted got some electric guitars to fool around on. Super fun. Ah, can you show us how to tune the mandolin to play a song like Get Up John? I can't remember the exact tuning for Get Up John, but I'll give you an idea. So, Get Up John is a Bill Monroe tune with some interesting features. It's in kind of like a crazy cross tuning. And one of the big thing that's going on, one of the big things, I think there's something going on with his low G strings where he's got like one at A and one at a low E or D or something, or F sharp even, I can't remember. But his high strings, his E strings, he's got one at E and one at C sharp. So you get this which I love that sound. So that's definitely fun to play around with. I talk a little bit about it, I think, in that cross-tuning lesson, but I can't remember. Cool. Ted says there's a video showing the tuning online. Yeah, you can look up if you look up like Get Up John mandolin tuning, I'm sure something will come up. Who's the maker of the archtop guitar hanging on the wall behind you? Is it this one? Yeah, it's gotta be. Oops, nope, not that one. So this is a cool, it's actually an archtop tenor guitar, also tuned GDAE. Needs some setup work. But this is made by Gretsch, probably in the 30s or 40s is my guess. I don't exactly know how to date it, but it's a cool instrument. It was a fun find. It's in kind of weird shape. There's a lot of like finish problems, and it looks like it's got kind of poorly put on new binding. And there's some really like kind of drippy finish runs in it that are kind of gross, but it's fun, and it needs probably like a neck reset and all kinds of work, but maybe someday. All right, let's see. Gail says just attended an Emery Lester workshop. He's awesome. His number one advice: anchor your hand for picking. So that's the thing. You know, Emery is an amazing mandolin player, and I think what you're saying there is anchor. I don't know. Do you mean, is he saying to anchor on the mandolin? I generally am not a huge proponent of anchoring. Some people do it and sound great. If that's Emery's way of doing it, that's totally great. But I think for me, it really, and most people that I see, anchoring really just adds a lot of tension that you don't need, especially if you're planting on the instrument itself. And I'm all about no tension. You know, it may be he's got it in a way that isn't adding tension, but in general, people I see planting on the soundboard really are adding a lot of tension to their playing that they don't need to be there. James says, I saw a video pop up on my recommendations for bad tuning for a guitar, asking if it's the worst tuning. I like that. That would be Yeah. That is the B above the A. That's wild. Um, Want to get an octave mandolin. Where did that one go? The chat just jumped. Oh, want to get an octave mandolin and give us a tune? Sure. Because I've got this thing sitting here, I'll give you a little tune on a little electric octave. Let's see. Let's see, can I do a request here? I once again totally lost track of all my Cold Frosty Morning. I'll do a little Cold Frosty Morning. I need a thinner pick. There's one. All right. There's a little bit of highly distorted Cold Frosty Morning for you. That's been a fun little project. All right, keeping up with that. I'm loving all the stuff in the chat here. It's keeping me busy. That's what I like. Time is screaming by. Whew. All right. Playing through Kid on the Mountain. Sure, I'll play a little Kid on the Mountain. I'll also catch up with the chat and keep that one in my head here. Tamlin Sloppy needs practice, but I'm there. From your lessons, I've hit the vid probably 75 times now. Marvin, congratulations. That's not an easy tune. And just keep up the good work. Keep playing it nice and slow, and the speed will come. Cool, Patrick. First time chatting out here in Central Oregon. Glad you're enjoying the website. All the Irish tunes. What are my new favorite trad tunes? That's a good one. I don't know. I've been playing a lot of old time tunes, mostly. I can't think of tunes off the top of my head, especially on the spot. But keep that in mind and try to add some to the website. Sorry, I don't have any good answers for you. Oh, cool. Brenda says she's got a K similar to that arch top. Anchor right on the mandolin, bridge, or guard. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So that's. I'm personally not a fan of anchoring and teaching anchoring, but I would love to hear Emery's take on it because he's a great mandolin player. Yeah. Tamlin's my first song. Wow, that's a big one to jump into. So let's see. Icky says, still waiting on the Fender Tenor Telly. Yeah, they're. I jumped on them as quick as I could when I saw they were out, and they've been having all kinds of kind of like delays and setbacks. But I think you'll like it once you get it, Icky. It's been fun. And again, I'm about to put that kind of first look into it out on my other channel as soon as this live stream is done. Have you gotten a chance to look at configuring the website for the accessibility thing, Ritika? Yes. I have not yet, and I do intend to do it. I know that it's not the most accessible at this point, but I do plan on doing it. I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Hopefully, after the first of the year, I can really dive into that and get something going on that front. But I do appreciate the reminder, so thank you. So I've got Kid on the Mountain at the back of my mind while I catch up with the last bit of chat here. If you put that Telecaster through an octave pedal, would it sound like a bouzouki? Well, it's the same octave as a bouzouki, and it would just be. I think the thing to make it more bouzouki-like would be like some kind of delay or something to fake the kind of 8-string sound over the 4-string sound. I'll play a little Kid on the Mountain and then jump back into the chat. Great slip jig in the key of E minor. 5-part tune. Those aren't in tune. That's what I get for going halfway to Get Up John tuning. So that's a little bit of Kid on the Mountain. I love that tune. It's on my website if you want to learn it. Icky says, what's the story with the Castagnara Melodians? So there's actually two. Well, maybe one's not up there right now. There's usually 3 accordions up there. I play a sort of modified DG system that's kind of wacky of my own design, and my partner plays B, C, Irish box, and also 1-row C Cajun accordion. And I love button accordions. They are a lot of fun. Robert says, chords are hard to play on the octave mandolin. Any advice? My advice and what I tend to do is I don't play the same what am I trying to say? I don't play the same chord shapes and voicings that I do on a mandolin because, there is that big stretch. So when you get into chop chords, it's not going to happen. So you need to kind of rebuild a new vocabulary for tenor guitar and octave mandolin. I'm just gonna do something real quick here. Oops. All right. Noticed I was kind of blowing out, and I got the sun coming in the side, blowing things out. So turn down the exposure a little bit. King of the Fairies. I can never remember all the parts to that one and how that one goes. We never play it in the session around here, and I kind of learned that one to put on the website. But it is on the website if you don't know it already. But yeah, I can't keep that one straight. New 5-cent piece, definitely. Learned that one from Alf. I'll play that in a second. And then we should start thinking about playing a little bit of that Rose and the Heather. Cool. Sarhev, I don't know how to say your name, from Poland. Thanks so much for the kind words. Glad you're enjoying the music. Do I learn best by ear or tabs? I learn best by ear. And probably then tabs, because that's the notation I started with, and then sheet music. That said, I recommend people learn. If you're going to learn to read music, I recommend learning to read standard notation, not tablature, because then you can read it on any instrument. Whereas if you just have tab, it's only good for mandolin. But yeah, by ear is the way that I learn best. Cool. Brenda says, working on my first mandolin lesson from you, Blackberry Blossom. Cool. Keep up the good work. Eric says, any thoughts on how long it takes to develop a good tremolo? I've been working at it for a while, and I can get 30-second notes up to 54 beats per minute, but not much faster. I think, just knowing that you can get 30-second notes at 54 beats per minute means you're going at it the right way. Keep doing what you're doing, and it's something that does just take time. It's a matter of months and years to really get a nice smooth tremolo. So just keep doing it, and it'll keep clicking, and it'll get better every day. Do you have any tremolo drills beyond just playing scales or notes with a metronome and slowly raising the tempo? Something you can do is work on like different kinds of tremolo. So if, going, like you said, 30-second notes at 54 beats per minute is going to be very rhythmically straight. But then you listen to someone like David Grisman play tremolo, and he's got a very kind of expressive and fluid and not particularly in time tremolo. So working with like different times and intensity. When doing chords, do you tend to switch up between open and closed chords, or do you stick to closed? That's a great question, Ritika. I think it depends. If I'm playing kind of classic bluegrass with those classic big bluegrass chop shapes, I will stick to that. But sometimes I like to play more open sounding chords. And I can stick to that. Sometimes I'll go a little bit between. I'll start out with open chords, and then the second time through I might go to chop chords. Request for something on the octave mandolin. Sure. Let me see what I can find here. So this is the closest I've got to an octave mandolin at the moment. It's in G, D, A, D. And it's got octave courses on the low string. But I'll play a little bit of new 5-cent piece, since that was requested. How does this tune go? There it is. It is a little old-time tune on the old bouzouki. A little unconventional, but there you have it. Do you play fiddle? I do not. That is my partner Emma's fiddle back there, which I'm currently pointing to with my mouse on my computer, which is not helpful for you. When you travel by air, is the mandolin small enough to be carry-on, or do you have to check it? Carry it on. What's the difference between the mandolin, the octave mandolin, and the Portuguese guitar? I don't know anything about the Portuguese guitar. I've seen them. They look cool. They look more like a Waldzither, kind of a German instrument. But I don't know how they're tuned normally, so I can't really answer that question. One is Portuguese. I like that. Request for Kitchen Girl. I can probably do a little bit of that. All right, I'll do a little bit of Kitchen Girl, and then we are going to play Rose and the Heather. So let's get to it. So get your mandolin out and tuned up while I play a little Kitchen Girl, unless you're already playing along with me. Sorry for all this sunlight hitting me. It's that time of year where all the leaves fall off the trees and the sun is low in the sky, so it just blasts me. Alright, so Kitchen Girl. I love that tune. One of my favorite tunes of all time. I'm going to play a contra dance tonight. Hope I play that tune there. Alright, a little bit of Rose in the Heather. A lovely Irish tune in the key of D, one of my favorite jigs of all time. So, let's play this. The way this works is we pass it back and forth. I'll play the melody while you play the chords. You play the melody while I play the chords. This one's a little different. It's not on my website. It's on my list of lessons to go on the website. But play the version you know. If you don't know it, see if you can pick up a little of it along the way. If you've been playing this tune for years, maybe try to add some triplets or some double stops or some open drone strings or whatever it is. Just try to push yourself wherever you're at with the tune. I'm going to go into the close video just because I'm getting so blasted. Wow, it's also hitting me hard there with the light, but it's going to have to be. Alright, David has been playing almost a year now. Congratulations. Alf says, great rendition of that tune, Open Strings. Yeah, the open strings on the bouzouki or the in G-Dad is a lovely thing. So, Rose in the Heather. You play the chords, I'll play the melody. Here's A2. Here's your turn to play the melody. B part. You play the chords. B part. Let's play it one more time together. Everybody play the melody. Alright, there we have it. A little bit of Rose in the Heather. If you don't know that tune, it is on my website. Gotta lean forward here. The sun's really coming through. Thank you all so much for joining in on another Mando Lessons Live. I think I'll be coming with another one next week. If somebody has a request for the tune we should jam next week, throw it out there now in the chat, and we'll get to it. Preferably something that we haven't done already, something that's not on the website, all that sort of stuff. Or sorry, that is on the website, something that we haven't done before. It's starting to become a trickier and trickier thing as we go. I hope to be here next week. I may not be, so it could be 2 weeks from now. Yeah, and if you're all, if I don't see you next week, happy Thanksgiving. If you're here in the U.S. But yeah, throw out requests in the chat while we wrap up here, and hopefully we can get something out there. And missed it, but you can always watch it again on the website. It'll always come back out so you can see it when it watch it at your own pace. But it's always nice to have you when it's live. And all right, Monahan Jig isn't on the website. Feast here tonight is also not on the website. Maybe I'll Turkey in the Straw. Great suggestion. Let's do it. I don't think we've done Turkey in the Straw yet. So let me just look it up here real quick. I'll just look through Denise's notes to make sure. All right. Let's see. Oh, takes a little while to load here. Turkey. Have we done Turkey in the Straw? Oh, we did Turkey in the Straw. Yes. Episode 50. So keep them coming. Rights of Man. I don't think we have done the Rights of Man, and I'm pretty sure it's on my website. That would be a fun one. Rights of Man is on the website, and have we done it before? Moment of Truth. We've done Rakes of Mallow, but not the Rights of Man. There it is. It's official. Next week, the Rights of Man. I can never remember how that tune goes, so I'm going to have to brush up on it myself. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope to see you all again soon, next week or the week after. Yeah. Happy weekend. Keep on picking. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.